Natasha Deen, a volunteer Beyond Zero Emissions, and I'm also founder of Save Our Coast. But today I'm really excited to present this innovative and bold vision for 1 million jobs by Beyond Zero Emissions. This visionary plan to lead Australia into renewables will provide the foundation for permanent jobs in diverse new industries in an energy revolution with exciting social, economic and environmental benefits. Economists worldwide have highlighted the merits of putting practical, low-carbon initiatives at the heart of our recovery. The Beyond Zero Emissions Million Jobs Plan shows what taking this approach would mean for Australia. But firstly, I acknowledge and pay my humblest respects to the traditional custodians of the land on which I live, work and learn, the Awabakal and Warramai people, to elders past and present, and to the at least 60,000-year history and continuing culture and community, and the wisdom of caring for country that we have much to learn from. Beyond Zero Emissions recognise that Aboriginal people's sovereignty over this land was never ceded, and recognises the ongoing impact of this dispossession continues to this day. Beyond Zero Emissions is an internationally recognised energy solutions think tank. We produce independent and innovative research solutions demonstrating that a zero emissions Australia is achievable and affordable now. Our reports provide detailed pathways for a 10-year transition in each major sector of Australia's economy. We work on a national vision while exploring the relevance for communities and industry, and this Million Jobs Plan is an example. The Million Jobs Plan was supported by an eminent group of experts who challenged the data and assumptions and ensured the report was current, relevant and practical. This report is a result of a collaboration of over 55 people, including myself, and we all brought our passion and dedication and collectively devoted hundreds of hours of our time to create the outcome that was reviewed by the Advisory Board. In the development of this report, we obtained advice, developed projects, collaborated with and received contributions from a further 300 organisations and communities. And what was the outcome of this collaborative research? It showed that over a 5-year period, we could create well over 1 million jobs, with jobs counted as job years. That's one job for 1 year. These low-carbon jobs would be in a wide range of sectors like renewable energy, recycling, transport, buildings and land use, and some of these would be short-term construction, but many would be ongoing jobs that last beyond our 5-year snapshot. Million Jobs Plan is a national plan, a vision for the whole of Australia, but of course jobs are located within communities. Now, through community engagement, where hundreds of hours were spent talking to community members, it was obvious that communities are not only receptive, but very enthusiastic about the prospect of low carbon investment and jobs in their area. And I'll get to one of these reports from my own community here in the Hunter area of New South Wales shortly. Much of the Million Jobs Plan depends on Australia's abundance of reliable and renewable energy. We are one of the sunniest countries on Earth. Australia's sheer size, combined with the fact that a solar panel works twice as well in Port Augusta as it does in Berlin or Tokyo, has growing relevance to our economic future. Renewable energy will not only provide more jobs, but will also diversify the Australian economy. Our vision for renewable energy sees 90 gigawatts of large-scale solar and wind in the next 5 years, which will provide 124,000 construction jobs, with 22,000 of these ongoing. 160 gigawatts of projects is already in the pipeline, and 30 gigawatts has planning approval, which is enough for the first 2 years of our plan. Now, just recently, we heard that New South Wales call for expressions of interest for a 3 gigawatt renewable energy received responses totaling 27 gigawatts, which is 9 times greater. And the vision aims to fast track new transmission projects and install 20 gigawatts of batteries. So with billions of dollars in clean energy investment ready to be implemented, the government's role is simply to unblock barriers to investment. And one of the main barriers, as agreed by many, is the lack of transmission infrastructure. Beyond Zero Emissions research shows that in some cases there's a strong case for construction of new transmission lines to be accelerated by government funding, but in other cases, private finance is willing. For example, the Copper String project in northern Queensland, a 1,000-kilometre line linking Townsville with Mount Isa in far western Queensland opens up huge wind and solar resources along its route, which can provide all Queenslanders with reliable, more economical and cleaner energy and connect Mount Isa with the national electricity market. For the Mount Isa's copper mine and smelter, this could result in halving the cost of electricity, as well as the obvious benefits of reduced emissions that benefit the environment, climate, and the health of communities. This affordable clean energy would open up this region to low-emission mining and processing a range of important metals like cobalt and vanadium, and will not only reduce carbon output, but also reduce pollution and provide safer and cleaner conditions for workers and communities. An installation of renewable energy is stepped up. We need to ensure that some of the manufacture of equipment occurs here in Australia. There is already large-scale production of solar panels internationally, but there are huge opportunities to manufacture batteries and wind equipment, for example. Australia has immense capacity. We have the technology and engineering capacity and a skilled, resilient and keen workforce who have proven adaptability. For example, the conversion of a former car factory in Geelong now makes components for turbines, employing and retraining 20 people. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Our research shows that the wind industry could provide about 9,000 manufacturing jobs in Australia and 30 gigawatts of affordable and clean energy. Now, pre-COVID-19, over 1 million people were employed by the construction industry in what was a reliable and secure source of employment. But now up to 500,000 construction workers' jobs are at risk. The Beyond Zero Emissions Buildings initiatives to produce net zero energy homes will reverse this. Firstly, energy-efficient social housing should be built. Australia has a shortfall of 400,000 social houses, contributing to an appalling homelessness rate with over 100,000 people homeless. 30,000 new social houses should be built every year for the next 5 years and made energy efficient for comfort and affordability. Inefficient existing houses could also be refitted. The Million Jobs Plan proposes an ambitious program of 500,000 energy retrofits per year, creating 500,000 job years. With a few straightforward measures like insulation and solar panels, the vast majority of Australians could have much lower energy bills, as well as the obvious added benefit to the environment, the climate, and to the health of the population of lower emissions usage. One example of how this might work is Dutch company Energiesprong, who carries out retrofits on inefficient homes within 1 week. The company then guarantees the energy performance of these homes, things like the internal temperature, for 30 years. There are no upfront costs to tenants, and instead of paying energy bills, they pay an energy service fee. Now, thousands of Energiesprong retrofits have been conducted in the Netherlands, in France, and the UK, and Energy is preparing to step up scale to tens of thousands, at which point it will become self-financing. Now, if this works in Northern Europe with freezing winters and not much sunshine, surely this can be made to work here in Australia with our abundant sunshine and mild weather. So let's incentivise the Australian Energiesprongs and make sure tenants of rental properties or residents of social housing are included. So one of the ways the Million Jobs Plan could change the Australian economy for the better is it could lead to a resurgence of manufacturing. The first item in this table, electrifying industry, which is the title of a Beyond Zero Emissions report, that shows from switching from gas to renewable energy could reduce costs as well as increasing efficiency and productivity for Australian manufacturers. Renewable hydrogen is an exciting field with the global demand for hydrogen about to boom, meaning we could create a major industry and become world exporters in low-emission hydrogen, which would enable a wide range of low-emission manufacturing and thousands of secure jobs, instead of exporting the climate-damaging and polluting fossil fuel that is gas, with its dangerous extraction process and unsafe future for workers. Electrifying industry, renewable hydrogen, renewable mining, or zero-emissions metals could provide 215,000 manufacturing jobs. Alcoa, for example, anticipates 85% of global smelting portfolio will be powered by renewable energy. So the only long-term future for Australia's smelters and the only way to save the jobs they provide is to switch to low-cost renewable energy. There could be an added bonus of doing this. Smelters could actually support the reliability of an electricity grid dominated by renewables. Traditionally, smelters run very inflexibly, consuming the same amount of power 24/7. But new technology would allow them to modulate their demand up and down. In effect, they would become like giant grid batteries, but for a fraction of the cost. In fact, there's a smelter in Germany that now makes more money from the electricity market than it does from aluminium. In the near future, most land transport would be electric. Electric buses and trains are cleaner, quieter, faster, with lower running costs, and are certainly less polluting. Cities worldwide like London, Paris, and Mexico City are rapidly switching to electric buses, and Shenzhen in China switched its entire fleet of 16,000 in just 3 years. Now, land is our greatest opportunity to absorb carbon. Revegetating degraded land in 5 years will create 23,000 jobs, including 10,000 new environment managers and 6,000 Indigenous rangers caring for land, water, and country. We'll help shift the forestry sector from native and old-growth logging, and this will increase farm productivity, resilience, and well-being of farmers, as well as reducing 5% of Australia's emissions every year, regenerating Australia's unique ecosystems. Now, these proposals presented here have been enthusiastically received at the local level. Beyond Zero Emissions now works with over 65 communities in every state and territory and offers support and resources to empower local communities, resulting in more local jobs, leading to investment opportunities, lower energy bills, and a healthier environment. There is a lot of enthusiasm for low carbon initiatives if they're done in the right way with appropriate community involvement and consultation. And now onto a local case study of the Million Jobs Plan for the Hunter area. This is my home and I have lived here for 41 years and I love it here, as does the community. We have a spectacular, diverse community, beautiful natural places, world-renowned for their sheer beauty, and also rich tradition in industry. There is a strong feeling in the community of the need to save the environment as well as providing secure, long-lasting jobs. So what does the Million Jobs Plan mean for the Hunter? Beyond Zero Emissions conducted 5 case studies here based on the 90 gigawatt renewable energy rollout. These are projects that could be developed in the short timeline, but of course many other opportunities exist. Now, in a nutshell, the Million Jobs Plan means 50,000 jobs over 5 years and 115 jobs in the Hunter over 10 years, with 24,000 of these jobs ongoing. Beyond Zero staff and volunteers have conducted hundreds of hours of community outreach. We connected to communities, to unions, to industry, to companies that want to set up in the Hunter, and we connected with people who live and work on the land. Next slide, please. A case study to create energy-efficient homes, taking homes to 5 stars, would generate 10,000 jobs a year over 5 years, bringing the entire housing stock up to a 6-star rating. This would result in bringing many lasting benefits, including reduced energy bills and improved quality of life. Dr. John Shiel, a local volunteer, did the underlying research for this. We hope to reach a 6-star rating as a start to create as many jobs as possible and create a foundation to improve in the future. The Hunter is a beautiful place. However, major environmental and landscape changes have occurred over the last 230 years with an urgent necessity for restoration, which provides a huge opportunity for jobs in environmental restoration. The biggest opportunity is rehabilitating mine sites. Almost 1,900 people will be employed over 5 years for this. Another 360 jobs could be created in reforesting and 200 jobs a year supporting local farmers adapt their farms to create extra income through biodiversity and carbon credits. Now, traditional custodians have a deep knowledge based on over 60,000 years of culture and wisdom in managing the Australian landscape. And 200 Aboriginal rangers in the Hunter will help manage the land and waterways using the wisdom of traditional knowledge and methods. There is a contamination issue here with ash byproduct from coal-fired power stations. Beyond Zero Emissions spoke to a manufacturer called VCor Australia Proprietary Limited, who used the fly ash, not suitable for concrete, process it to lock up heavy metals, and then manufacture products like tiles, coarse aggregates, and engineered sands. From the feasibility study through to a pilot, then scaling up to a factory, VCor could employ 400 people by 2025. This can be done on a timeline and location that closely aligns with the closure of Eraring Power Station using renewable electricity to run the electric kiln. And there are 2 pathways for green steel. One is hydrogen. Using hydrogen within 10 years, there can be 10,000 people employed in the Hunter in green steel. This is particularly relevant as local MPs are really interested in hydrogen as an important element for the Hunter diversifying project, and that will be part of the ongoing Beyond Zero Emissions work in the Hunter. And a second pathway is electrolysis. A new technology being commercialised by Boston Metals, who we consulted with, is called molten oxide electrolysis. Iron ore is placed in a chemical solution and an electric current passed through it, producing high-grade crude steel. Using renewable energy, the only gas released is oxygen. This can revolutionise the whole steelmaking process. Boston Metals are happy to set up a pilot followed by a factory here in the Hunter, employing 100 people and producing 100,000 tonnes of crude steel per annum within 5 years, with 1,000 people employed in 10 years. We can bring back steel and future-proof the Hunter green steel industry by using both hydrogen and electrolysis. As stated earlier, electric buses are cleaner, less polluting, quieter, faster, have lower running costs, and Transport for New South Wales needs 8,000 zero-emission buses in total. Now, the Hunter is the ideal place in New South Wales for this. Beyond Zero Emissions spoke to 7 capable businesses, including those that support the mines, that have the skills and the workforce that can pivot to zero-emission production. AMP Control is an example of how versatile Hunter business can be. It's a local company that engineers electronic technology such as underground substations, yet at the drop of a hat, they were able to engineer and produce ventilators to support hospitals during the COVID-19 crisis. The Hunter businesses consulted can produce the smart systems, the components and charging stations, and assemble zero-emission buses. The expertise from producing net zero emissions heavy vehicles and with zero emissions metals can really set the Hunter up for the future as a zero emissions export hub. And now I'll hand over to Dr. Dominique Hes, previously the lead researcher for Beyond Zero Emissions and currently chair of the Diversifying the Hunter Research Project. Over to you, Dominique.
Hi, everyone. So what Natasha's just presented, the Million Jobs nationally was a collaboration of, as she said, 55 volunteers and researchers and 300 or more companies, organisations and communities. as well as the steering committee and everyone like that. But the Hunter specific bit was really the volunteers working together with Sam Miller, the coordinator for the Hunter project, and myself, and John Shield and Natasha were two of the amazing volunteers from the Hunter that helped us with that project. Now, the output from the Hunter case studies, those 5 case studies, is really just a demonstration of the first 3 months of our engagement in the Diversifying the Hunter project. What we're aiming to do for the Diversifying the Hunter project, if you know BZE's work, you'll know that we created a report for Collie, for the Northern Territory and for Port Augusta, which demonstrated for those communities how they could transition within 10 years away from high fossil intensity, high carbon intensity industries to lower carbon industry, to decarbonising, to renewables. And so we're aiming to do something similar in the Hunter. But the Hunter is an extremely complex place. It's a place with a lot of history and a place where there are a lot of industries, a lot of potential. And so across this 2-year project of identifying the pathways and doing the research to demonstrate how those pathways could be activated, it really is about collaborating with people such as yourself, with industry, with government. And so that's what we've really started with, and we thought that the input into the Million Jobs report was a really good way of kind of staking our mark that we're really serious in being in the Hunter and supporting the Hunter. Part of that is that I've stepped away from leading the Hunter project on a day-to-day basis, and I've taken a more strategic role in chairing the Diversifying the Hunter Reference Committee. And so the intention of that is it frees my salary as such to employing a researcher locally in the Hunter. And that is very much, you know, it's partly a response to COVID. It's very hard to work very closely with industry and community when you can't actually be there. I was actually planning to be up quite a lot because my family's from there. I grew up in Gresford and went to Dungog High, but I can't now. I'm stuck here. We've just gone into level 4 restrictions as of 3 hours ago. So we're now under curfew. It feels, sorry, I'm a little bit taken aback by it all. Anyway, so for me to step up as chairperson and step away from my research role, it means that we can employ someone within the Hunter, and we've just advertised for that. And if you're interested or know good people, let me know and I'll forward that link through to Marie to share with you. Yeah, so that's really the Diversifying the Hunter project. I'm here really to say, come join us, come help us, let us know how we can help you. We have a wonderful program called Zero Carbon Communities, which you will see featured on the Fight for Planet A on the ABC, launching on the 13th, through which we work with communities to identify their pathways and connect them to investment groups if they need it. Ideally, you end up doing it yourself, but if you need investment, we do have a reference group for that. Or you might have research expertise, or it sounds like you're really good at writing letters, or you might like to present. So do connect with us if you would like to support us in any way. Now, I know that there'll be lots of questions. I'm going to stop sharing there. That's our information.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our CCL channel by hitting the button in the top left-hand corner of this screen. Spread the word of CCL by using the share icon to as many of your contacts as possible. Thank you. See you next video.